All right, it's reasonable. Whiskey Row diesel. So I bought a torch. This is not the torch. I left the torch at the barn. If you haven't seen any of my videos in the last 3 or 4 months, it's because I haven't made any. So this video is basically going to be the most unfortunate, quick, ridiculous, least in-depth video that I could possibly make on some new products, some of which are fantastic, that I've kind of been messing with off and on over the last couple of months, and I just wanted to get a video made before hunting season starts so that people could like include some of this stuff in their kit if they wanted to. I really, each and every one of these products deserves their own like full review, but what you're gonna get is me just doing this, which is talking to the camera and doing a kind of crappy job of informing you of what's been going on. So I'm gonna smoke a cigar, I'm gonna drink some scotch. Let's start out right here with an arrow. This is the Vector ZMR 15,000 straightness, 300 spine, Ethics components, 4 fletched, got a wrap. The guys from Vector sent me some arrows last year, and the short answer was I didn't like them because they were kind of junk. And I don't hesitate in saying that. The components didn't fit right. The wraps were junk, so the vanes actually kind of broke off as they were shooting. It's a good idea. This execution is significantly better. While I've not done a crazy amount of testing with these yet, I have been shooting them out to about 60 yards with the bow that they were kind of designed to be shot with. And I've looked around on their website a little bit more, and I think these might be a decent value for what you're getting. So literally go type in Vector arrows and look at their website. It takes like 35 seconds to enter in your bow specs. They'll tell you the total arrow weight, the FOC, and how much. And a dozen of these things was like 215 bucks. So when you're thinking about a dozen arrows that are like cut custom for you, they arrive in a really nice, nice packaging, everything's super safe. I'm talking about this more than I wanted to, considering the amount of products that I have in front of me. But Vector arrows, fantastic follow-up to a first round that I would consider needed improvement. So I'll be testing these out a little bit more with an arrow video that I'm going to be working on maybe sometime in 2024. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's hope it's 2023. Let's hope it's later this year. It'll be just in time for hunting season to be completely over. Sticking with arrows, this is an interesting one because Victory arrows traditionally have been top of the heap as far as arrows for me. They're typically in the top 3 or 4. The problem that I've found in the past with their really narrow, like .166 diameter arrows, is durability wise, they struggle a little bit, and the components for the front end and then the lighted nocks for the back ends, especially the lighted nock world. I've seen some other newer stuff coming out that looks like it's going to be better, but in the past, the lighted nocks and the components out front of a .166 arrow have always been kind of a complaint. This is the new .204 arrow from Victory. This is the RIP TKOs, and I am super excited about shooting these things. So it's a little bit wider diameter, but it's still, it's not considered a full-size arrow. I think this is going to be such a good blend for them. Taking the RIP TKO and turning it into a 204, I have a feeling this may end up being my favorite arrow of all time. If they took the TKO tech and put it in a 204 and the components are good, man, I just feel like this is going to be a rock-solid combination. I've been running cutter stabilizers for a little while, and they'll send me stuff from time to time. So this is one of the things that they sent me. It's their new back bracket. And I actually worked with Earl, one of the guys at Cutter, kind of talking through some of the designs and what I would want out of the back bracket. And one of the things that I told them was, I want something that if the screws start to come loose, for a hunting setup, that can be kind of catastrophic, where if the screws start to come loose on this thing and it starts to just break free, it's going to flop around and basically you're going to just have to take off the back bar. So if you're going to carry something into the field, you want it to be durable. So what sets this bracket apart, a couple of things. The way it's machined on the front, when you sit it on your riser, it's not just the screw that's holding it in, where if the screw comes loose, the entire bracket can fail. It's got a cutout that rests against the side of the riser. I'll say that's pretty standard across most brackets. Here's where it's different. I'll obviously have to do a zoom in for this. These interlock using teeth. So even if the screw comes loose, it's not going to move. Now, if the screw comes all the way loose and all the way out, then yes, it's going to have a problem and it's going to move. But if these screws break loose, they can literally loosen up almost halfway and there's still no actual movement of this back bar. What you're gonna hear is you're gonna hear a noise when you're firing, but it's not going to fail in the field. The other thing that this will allow you to do is rest your bow on the ground up against a tree without worrying about putting just pressure on these screw points. And both of these are exactly the same. It's got the cool cutter antelope on one side. I mean, I think that this is a really, really solid choice for a back bar mount from Cutter Stabilizers. This is their 10-degree down attachment. So basically, this is so awkward and stupid, and I'm hoping that I'm cutting in and I'm doing some sort of B-roll showing how I'm attaching this, but I might not be. You see how quick and easy that was? Even in this awkward position, all crammed into this corner. So now I've got my front bar. So even if you're a whitetail guy and you want to run a bar out front and you're walking into the stand, you've got everything loaded up in the car, this mounts vertically up against the riser of the bow. This is the 15-inch bar, by the way, so this is super long. And then fairly easily unscrew it, turn it around, and the quick release basically fits in so that you're all set up to go. This is sold separately from the back. You can buy them on the Cutter website. I'm super excited about this next product. These are the Super Sabres by DCA Custom Arrows. I've spent a little bit more time with these than I have some of the other products on the table, and I've done a little bit more in-depth testing. So what I basically did was I fletched up a bunch of arrows with my favorite vanes so far, which are the AAE Max Stealths, and then I fletched up another half dozen with the DCA vanes, and I shot them against each other. I shot out to distance. I did a slightly out of tune broadhead test. I did a noise test, and then I also did a destruction test where I basically shot them through the horse mat, and then I also sat them in the back of my car with a book on them to see how they would recover. The only test these did not do as well as the AAE Max Stealths was the crush test. So they still held up fine going through the horse mat. They didn't rip off, the vanes didn't have any issues, but they didn't come back the same way the AAE Max Stealths are. They were better in every other area. They are slightly quieter than the AAE Max Stealths. Like, verifiably quieter. The other one was the slightly out of tune broadhead test. The impacts were 20% better with this. So that's kind of a ridiculous test a little bit, but what it's showing you is if you don't have everything exactly perfect, these are going to just be a little bit more forgiving. Obviously, you should try to get everything as close as you can, but the DCAs still, what that means is that they're controlling the broadhead a little bit better than the Max Stealths. At 100 yards, these grouped 6 inches higher on average than the Max Stealths. So what that's telling me is that either these are creating lift or they're not creating as much drag, and I don't know which one is which. But your pin gaps, in theory, would be just a scooch smaller. That's probably not like a great reason to buy them. But I will say this, in my testing overall, These are the best vanes I've used so far overall for a hunting arrow. Marsupial gear pack. I was really disappointed in the Sitka pack the last year. I ran it for 2 seasons, and just a lot of like stuff that I didn't like about it. This just makes a lot more sense. It's super quiet, so even as a whitetail person, if you want to run binos, this one just made sense. Pockets in the right spots, the straps are nice and durable, so if it's hot out and you're sweating, you're not noticing. It didn't cut into my neck the way the Sitka stuff did. And then the Maven B6 10x50s. So when we went antelope hunting last year, I was using the Vortex, and the category is a little bit different. So kind of take that for what it is. But having a great set of binoculars, holy crap, you don't know how bad what you're currently using is until you start looking through some really good glass. And I think as far as the overall build quality goes, I'm super impressed for the price, because these aren't like Soro prices. These are expensive. I think they're right around $1,000, maybe a hair more. They're expensive, but it's not tip top of the line. But super impressed with how durable and how nice these binos have been so far. Speaking of binoculars, the guys at Magview reached out to me, and these dudes are everywhere right now on social media. Like, you can't, it just seems like they're sending stuff to everybody, which is, I don't know, seems kind of smart. Like, they were like, hey, do you want to try one of these out? What kind of binos are you running? I said, sure, send me the ones for the B6s. And they sent me something out. The packaging is legit. Like, some of the stuff, archery, you know, like hunting related stuff is kind of janky, but I mean, this is like really nice. The reason that's relevant is, to me, when people take care in their packaging, it means that they're thinking through the entire process, or that they're wasting money on packaging, like the Iron Will guys, who are sending out like these beautiful little balsa wood boxes full of broadheads. That's a lot of bees. The other competitor to this Magview deal is Phone Scope. So the Phone Scope is a good idea. Like, overall, I get why the Phone Scope thing makes a lot of sense. We all carry a cell phone. You want to be able to rig your phone up really easily and just get some shots long distance, throw it on a pair of binos or on a spotting scope. And traditionally what I've seen is people tending to use it on a spotting scope. But the issue is you have to use kind of a crappy case. It's a little awkward to like get it on and spin it and do the thing. It's a really good start to the process. But this Magview thing is so simple. It's a small magnet that slides over the eyepiece of your bino, and then it's a metal plate that you put on the back of your phone on the inside of your phone case. And the metal plate sticks to the magnet, then you kind of slide it around until the camera portion of the phone is in front of the other eyepiece. Let's see how it works. Ooh, I didn't read the directions. I'm very nervous. Am I going to break this? Kind of a sticky thing in there. Let's not use that. Let's see how this goes, because that's probably for a narrower eyepiece. Okay, so that was the problem. I mean, once I realized that there's this kind of spacer in there that you gotta move out if you've got a wider eyepiece, it's not really interfering. So basically what they said to do, I watched one little video of it, you basically kind of level these together and you can still use them as regular old binos. It's not intrusive. I mean, it's slightly wider, but I think let's find out. So the next thing that I have to review that's a part of this is the only phone case they had left at Best Buy for this phone for some reason. It's a Kate Spade. It's beautiful. It's pink. It's sparkly. Kind of a champagne sparkle. Isn't that beautiful? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plate, Magview plate. Oh. Okay, so that's me just holding the plate and picking the binos up, and these are metal. These are heavy binos. Put this in here. There's also a chance I'm just fast forwarding through all of this and you guys are watching me talk and looking like a lunatic. Now that's interesting. All right. So putting it inside the phone case doesn't appear to want to work. So let's do it this way, because... Ooh, now all of a sudden we're committing to this. This says Magview on the back, which looks pretty legit. I feel like this needs to be relatively close, though, so that I can actually get these to line up. By the way, I didn't look at the directions. I'm kind of just dum-dumming my way through this, which seems a little ridiculous and kind of like neglectful of the Magview guys. But I feel like if I can figure it out without looking at the directions, so that's how I did it. I offset it a little bit. I put it a little closer up so that it can stick on there. I mean, that bam. Now I'm going to have to use this Kate Spade case forever. That's kind of going to be the plan. Phone goes in the case. I mean, you're not going to be like dancing around with this thing, but I mean, that's plenty. I'll get some daytime footage of this tomorrow, but this is pretty legit. Like, this thing sticks on here, and then you're basically, because I've got the phone that has 3 lenses, so I'm adjusting based on whichever lens that I want to go, and simply moving the eye cups in and out and kind of getting stuff tamped down. It's really simple. Really simple. Doesn't seem like it's going to interfere with these at kind of their basic level, unless you are one of those guys who wants to run the eye cups all the way in. Then it appears like that will be a bit of a problem, because they're kind of level when the eye cups are basically halfway out. This just seems like a relatively simple, elegant way to solve a problem that we've all wanted. Everybody wants to be able to film their own stuff. Everybody has a phone in their pocket. Just like that. I mean, really simple. Very cool. Whiskey Road Diesel. Kind of boring. It's fine. It's it's fine. It's kind of a neutral, kind of boring, I'd say. All right. This last one's a little controversial, and this one for sure needs its own video, but I don't think I'm just not gonna get to it beforehand. This bow is as good, if not a hair better, than the V3X this year. And I picked the V3X as my hunting bow after just going and shooting a few things. The Ventum 33 for this year, with the grip that they've got on here, I keep picking this bow up. I keep coming in and I keep picking it up, and Hoyt has just knocked it out of the park. The draw cycle on this thing is so nice. The 70 pound on the Venom feels literally like it's 15 pounds lighter than on the V3X. The V3X has a bit of a stiff draw. The back wall on this is super solid. It's like I said, obviously this deserves its own video because this is a bit of a profound statement in the archery world, but to me, this bow right here is as good as the V3X, which is blowing my mind. I was supposed to send it back after I just kept delaying and delaying and delaying. I finally called Josh and I was like, man, I have to buy this. Like, can I buy the bow from you, please? And he begrudgingly said yes. My battery's dying. And this is the longest video I've shot ever, probably. So I apologize for just blasting through a ton of information. But I wanted everybody to see there's some really cool stuff that just keeps coming out. People keep innovating in the space. And I'm really excited about some of these accessories for this year. All right, go buy a bunch of stuff that I just showed you that's really cool. Thanks for watching. I'm Brandon McDonald.